Welcome to Commander's Comments. I'm your producer for the evening, Harrison. Without further ado, here is our Chief of Heritage Operations, Mr. Ron Kennedy.
Thank you, Moose. I appreciate it. Although we're doing Moose, he is at another meeting, so that was pre-recorded, and we appreciate all the work that Moose is doing. We've got the Florida man in the background helping out, and we appreciate that as well. This is Commander's Comment. We try to do Commander's Comment the first Thursday of every month, but we've had several scheduling problems. So here we are this Thursday, but next month it will be the first Thursday of the month, unless we run into another scheduling problem. And one of the scheduling problems is that our Commander-in-Chief, Jason Brochures, he is out at a meeting, another meeting. And so, and of course, this is the time of year we're really starting to have a lot of meetings. But our Lieutenant Commander-in-Chief, Walter D. Donnie Kennedy, almost as good looking as the Chief of Heritage Operation, my twin brother. He'll be trying to fill the shoes of Jason Brochures, which is a hard job to do, but I'm sure he'll do his best. We've got a lot of information to pass on to to all of our SCV members, all of our friends, and people who are just curious as to what's going on with the Sons of Confederate Veterans. Lieutenant Commander-in-Chief, how's it going in North Louisiana?
Well, we finally settled down from all the rain. We only had 8 inches of rain in the last 2 or 3 days. And I tell you, down in South Louisiana, Charles LeRae, compatriot LeRae, sent me some pictures down there from Slidell back towards Lafayette. They've had a lot of damage down there. So I'm really surprised you and Mandeville didn't get a bunch also. So keep Charles and his compatriots down in that area in y'all's prayers. They've had a storm go through there, and Louisiana was covered other day with storms. So, but I'm glad to be here. The sun is shining, God is good, and the South shall rise again. Let's get with it, folks.
All right. One thing, since we are mentioning the storms that came through, and we are coming up on hurricane season, the Florida man knows what I'm talking about. My brother doesn't. He's up in North Louisiana, the hill country. I'm down almost in New Orleans. I don't go to New Orleans, but I'm almost in New Orleans on the North Shore. This is a good time for people to remember to make donations to our fund, to relief fund, to help people, our compatriots who have damage. So remember that as well. We are a brotherhood, and we want to try to help our friends and our neighbors out, especially our SCV members who have suffered damage due to a storm coming through. And we had they upgraded it to a F2 tornado that went through Slidell. I don't know if it hit New Orleans, but it certainly tore up Slidell pretty well. I think it was on the national news. All right, let's talk about Donald. The first thing, because Commander Brochures gave me instructions not to let my brother talk until we first talked about the SCV awards. And listen, folks, the time is coming up, and they're all supposed to be in by April the 15th. I don't think that, if they get in a little later, as long as you get them processed pronto, I think we'll probably stretch through that. But there's some things we need to do to get all of the awards, and there's a place to go on the SCV website that you can get the award. Now, Florida man, there's a Word document that I sent in. There you go. So I want to go over this for everyone. This is how you get to the awards section. There you go to scv.org. Okay, at the top right, you click on the tab labeled Resources. Once you click on that, a dialog box will drop down. Click on the third selection. It says Forms and Documents. Once you click on that, when it opens, you'll see a dialog box on the left-hand margin. Make sure you don't look at what first comes up on the screen. Look on the left-hand margin. There's several dialogues. There's a dialog box. There's several options listed there. They're listed in alphabetical order. So look for awards. So on the forms list, there'll be awards. There's 8 awards listed. You select the award that you want. Now, I'm not going to go through each one of them, but there's a lot of awards. There's camps and camp members that deserve to be recognized. Please take time to go through this and look at it. And also, for those of you who are, and most of you aren't, but those of you who are as illiterate on the digital world as I am, I'll have to remind you that if your form is only showing up half the form on your screen, if you look over to the right-hand margin, there's 2 little slide bars that you can adjust with your cursor, and it'll slide that form up and down within the window of the screen so you can see it. So take time to go look at these forms, fill them out. I especially, because we also, in that form, you'll see the Heritage Award. So make sure you look at that. You can click on it and download it. Every camp is allowed to appoint one person for the Heritage Award. It's a medal and a nice certificate. And it's given out like all the other awards at the National Convention. So every camp, take a look at that one. Now, this is my Confederate Legion side coming out of it, but I want to make sure everybody has a chance to honor and really help to encourage these people who are working so hard in your camps. But look at all those awards. There's just a number of them, and I wish I had time to go over each one of them. But there's a lot of information, so make sure you go to the scv.org, go to resources, click down 3, then get the awards over on the left-hand margin and pick the award. If I were you, I'd look at all of them and see, because there's awards for camps and camp members. So be sure, and there's instructions on how to take care of it. Donald, you've been at this longer than I have. You got any comments on the awards?
Well, the main thing, I'm just going to reiterate what you said. There are members in every camp, every division that needs special pat on the back. Now, everybody that shows up and works deserves a pat on the back, but there are some that goes above and beyond. And these are the people you really want to recognize and say, thank you for being there 100% of the time, 110% of the time. So please recognize. And like Ron said, look at that list. There's 8 awards that you can find that people deserve and get it to them. And you know, we're running up on income tax day coming up pretty soon. Didn't mean to scare anybody, but the IRS is after all of us. But on April the 15th, but we can fudge a little bit. So you know, get it in post haste as soon as you can. Obviously, we're going to have a cutoff date on it because headquarters is going to have to process all of this. So we need to get this done quickly. So pass the word along to your camp commanders, your adjutants, your brigade commanders. If they're not listening to us tonight, you give them a call and say, hey, how about these awards? Look at commander's comment. It'll be posted tonight or tomorrow so they can see it. So let's get busy on that.
All right. Now we took care of our instructions from the commander-in-chief. Let's want to make sure we got that taken care of. I didn't want to get fired midstream here. Donald, what are some of the positive events we got going on around the Confederation?
Well, and this is something I'm just going to touch on some, right? Because we could spend a whole program talking about some of the positive things that's been happening. And folks, we need to let the world know, but we also need to let each other know what's going on, that some of the successes that we've been having. Well, one of the problems in the SCV is communications, and when we have a victory, it may seem small to you because, it's just one camp. They saved some flags. They defeated some bad politicians. They got the word out. Well, that needs to be passed on to everybody else in the Confederation so they'll understand, hey, we can win. Now, here's a great victory, and the victory belongs to all the members, especially particularly to the members in Georgia, and that's the Stone Mountain event here recently. About I think it was 2 months ago or so, some woke legislator in the Georgia legislature introduced a bill to rename Stone Mountain Confederate Memorial, the whole park and everything. And Commander Pilgrim and the Georgia division jumped on that, and they started working on it. And then, of course, they let headquarters know about it, and Commander Brochures got busy with the one-click politic. And I'm going to ask Ron in a minute just to quickly run over that one quick, but we use the one-click politic, and SCV members and supporters around the nation was sending emails to the governor of Georgia saying, hey, we don't want this destroyed. Now, it's important, and this is especially a shout out to our members, our SC members outside of the Confederacy, the continuous Confederate states. Oregon, Washington, New Jersey, Illinois, all those so-called northern states, we have SCV members in camps. When the governor of Georgia starts getting emails from those people outside of Georgia and outside of the South saying, hey, what are y'all doing? We come to Georgia to see this. We want our heritage. This is part of American heritage, our heritage. Don't let it be destroyed. Those folks, Ron, when the governor, and it could be the governor of any state, now when they start getting messages from outside the South with people saying, save our heritage, they will pay attention. Now, it's good that all of us pay attention and all of us are activated. But boy, I tell you, it's a shout out to our northern brethren who are out there working so hard for the Confederacy. Ron, just right quick, tell them what the one click is.
Well, I think everybody's listening to this know about the one click, but it's what I would call an application. It's software that we are licensed to use. So once a year, we have to pay big bucks for it. But and that's why it's so important for us to be using this, because we're the national SCVs paying the bucks to have this one-click politics. But it makes it so easy. It's almost one click is true, because you'll get a notice on the telegram. And again, if you're not on the telegram, if someone on the telegraph, if someone in your camp isn't on it, you make sure they get on the telegraph. And all you got to do is call headquarters or email headquarters, because then they'll have your email, and say, please put me on the telegraph list so I can get all the information that comes out from headquarters. But you will send out the notice that let's say the governor of Mississippi wants to destroy the Mississippi legitimate flag of the state of Mississippi. Boy, I wish we had this back then. We could have had everybody in the Confederation. We'd sent the one-click link. It's a little link. We sent it out on an email, sent it out on the telegraph. It's through your email, and all you have to do is click on it, go in there, fill out your zip code, fill out your name, and then it will populate it for, if we're doing it to the governor, it'll automatically populate it to the governor of the state that we're sending this to. If we're sending it to our national representatives, senators, representatives, it'll populate it for your specific representatives or senators in Congress. If we're doing it for state legislators, it'll go to the state legislators that we want to send it to. So, and we'll post on that email on the one click a short 3 or 4 sentence about the topic. This is what we don't want you to change the flag of Mississippi. We want to keep our traditional flag. Oh, I wished we had this back then. God, we could have saved our flag. But and if you want to add more to it, you can then modify that. Then all you do is you go down, you sign your name electronically, just type in your name, and you click send, and it goes just like that. It took, now look, Donald and I are the early baby boomers, okay? So you are not tech savvy. And it took me maybe 3 minutes to send the last one I sent. What about you, Donald?
Oh, I'm smarter than you. I did it in a minute and a half.
So you see there, even what do they say? Even an old blind hog can find an acorn every now and then. Well, even us old baby boomers can use this, and it's a very, very effective tool. That's enough about one-click politics.
Yeah. And the thing about it is, that bill was tabled, so it is dead. So there's a victory, folks. We need to pat ourselves on the back. A big shout out to Commander Pilgrim and the men in Georgia and the ladies in Georgia that did such a fine job there. They're an inspiration. Also, we've got billboards, Ron, this month going up all across the Confederation, and I don't know if the Florida dude's going to show it there. Look here, we got some banners.
This is a banner this is a Virginia division. They have banners people are putting out in their yard. We also have some billboards. If we can find the billboard, there's a billboard that they put out all during April for the Confederate History Month. So great thing, and it's not just Virginia. I know folks. Oh, there's another one. April is Confederate History Month. Now, here is something that, and I know people in other states. I know Florida has done some billboards. I think individual camps, and I think maybe even the division maybe have done some. But also Alabama, there's some talk about there's some efforts there to put up some billboards around the state capitol. So there's all kind of efforts to do it. I want to be able on the next year, come April, I want to have billboards like this in every southern state. So we can, if you can't drive across Dixie in April without seeing one of these billboards, it's going to be a national effort, but it's initiated at the national level, but it'll have to be supported by the local camps and the local division, of course. But that's what I would like to see. I may not be in the next administration, but whoever's in the next administration, I think that's a goal that we must shoot for.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you there. And the thing people should remember, a billboard will not change our history, our heritage. It will not save our history, our heritage. It's part of the process. All these little things that we do, it has a cumulative effect. One of the things we're doing is this month we're doing a lot of radio ads. Texas, Virginia, Louisiana, I think Missouri. There's different, a lot of camps that are doing some radio ads for April being Confederate History Month. Again, these radio ads are not going to save our bacon, but they're part of the process. And this is what we've got to get used to in SCV. Unfortunately, there's no one silver bullet that will destroy our enemy. But these things all working together, billboards, ads, the one-click politic, all the things that we'll be talking about here shortly, these things work together to destroy our enemy. But it also, the most important thing is that it makes our fellow Southerners who already agree with us, they understand, hey, there's a active group of people that's defending my great-great-granddaddy's history and heritage, and I like these folks. It's easy to recruit from the pool of Southerners then when you have that. An interesting thing in Virginia right now, I've just got through talking to Tracy Clary, and in Virginia, there's at least 5 camps doing 5 radio stations in Virginia promoting Southern heritage, putting 1-minute spots about being proud of Southern heritage. At the national level, we've done in the AOT, the Army of the Trans-Mississippi, and also in the Army of Tennessee, we're running some ads that we are running at the national level. And what's good about that is we're stimulating people at the local level to follow suit. In Virginia, Ron, we're talking about positive things. I just read recently that in Virginia, there was a county board of commissioners that ordered a Confederate flag to be removed. And as of right now, after the recent election, half of those people that voted to have it removed are no longer on that commission. And now they're working on the other half. So here again, folks, this is not something that we normally do, but we can, as citizens, get active. Yes, Ron.
Well, I just want to make sure when you say that they've been removed, it wasn't the SCV that did it. It was people who believed in the Southern heritage.
Right.
The SCV does not get involved in political efforts, but as a member, whether it's a member of the Methodist Church or the SCV, I have a right to organize with fellow believers and go out and work for or against any political candidate, but not under the auspices of the Sons of Confederate Veterans.
Right. But under the auspices of SCV, you can notify elected officials your position, how you feel, and the local community. You can notify them, but you cannot run ads against that candidate or for another candidate. So I'm glad you mentioned that. But the important thing is there's another victory there. Ron, right quickly, tell us a little bit about what's going on in Lake Charles, Louisiana right now.
Okay, we got some folks in Lake Charles, Louisiana. First of all, the Louisiana Division is running this month radio ads. And about a month ago, they'd run some, and we're running some in Lake Charles, Louisiana. There's a monument that the police jury, which is our board of supervisors, the police jury in Lake Charles in Calcasieu Parish, had said they were going to restore that monument. It was blown over due to a hurricane, believe it or not, hurricane. But and now they're backing off on it. So now the camp is starting a popular movement. They're emailing, they're advertising. They had a gun show where they're giving out Dixie to vendors, trying to educate the public about the need to restore that monument. And of course, they are passing that information on to the elected officials. Again, this is a way that we can restore, protect, and promote our heritage. Donald, we're running out on time, so let's go up to upcoming events.
All right, upcoming events. So when we talk about upcoming, I've got to mention one that this past weekend we had at Mansfield State Park in Louisiana. The Army of the Trans-Mississippi, Commander J.C. Hanna, and of the Army, Commander of the Army of the Trans-Mississippi, and Commander Brian McClure of the Louisiana Division. They put on a wonderful event. We had some great speakers, and I wished I had time just to go over what we did, but we were actually on the actual battlefield where our Confederate forefathers kicked Yankee butt out of this part of Louisiana. And it was just a wonderful event. And I'm going to shout out to Charles LeRae and down in towards Lafayette. He gave a presentation on General Mouton. General Mouton, of course, being the French general from down Acadiana area. His father was governor of Louisiana, and he was killed on that battlefield leading the troops there. And interestingly enough, he's a Cajun Frenchman, and he was replaced by General Ron. How do you pronounce Poliak's name?
It's Poliak.
Poliak.
According to Dr. Sandy Mitchum.
Yes.
Poliak.
Well, we will not argue about that. Yeah, well, anyway, he was replaced by a general from France, and they proceeded to chase Yankees all the way down the Red River. So it was a wonderful event. But what was so great about Charles LeRae was not only did he give a good presentation of Mouton, he sounded what we would think Mouton sounded like because he had that full Cajun accent. So shout out to Charles LeRae, a great event. Now, Stone Mountain is coming up on April the 22nd, folks. Everybody needs to, if you can possibly make that event, get there. That's April the 22nd. I think the keynote speaker is going to be our chaplain-in-chief, Gary Carlisle. So that's April the 22nd at Stone Mountain. Ron, I'll be in Missouri this weekend, April the 13th and 14th, coming up at the Missouri reunion. And I think you and I got something else coming up shortly that I'm not going to mention right now. But on May the 4th, folks, we have our pilgrimage and AOT workshop at headquarters. So that's May the 4th. take a look at that. Let's see. I'll be there. I know I'm going to be there. I think my wife and I will be attending that. I know I'll be there at the pilgrimage at the headquarters and the AOT workshop there. Also, don't forget, folks, reunion, July the 16th through the 20th, our upcoming national reunion. And the host camp is the secession camp number 4 out of Charleston, South Carolina. Take a look at your Confederate veteran. Folks, they have got a lot going on. And April the 16th, if you're in Marshall, Texas, come on by and see J.C. Hannah and myself. I'll be speaking at the SCB camp in Marshall, Texas, and I'm going to have J.C. Hannah with me. So y'all come on by there if you're in that area. So, Ron, that's a quick rundown, and I'm sorry I'm running fast trying to get all this in.
Yeah. Did you get the April 19th and 21st? You and I will be at the SCB reunion in Virginia.
You know, I didn't say that, but we will. Yes, sir. I beg your pardon.
Good.
Thank you.
I want to make sure that I had not wrote in my calendar.
Well, hey, right quick. I forgot. I've got another one over here on the side. Thank you for mentioning. On June the 15th in Richmond, Virginia, according to Tracy Clary, I just got through talking to him shortly, they will have a dedication of a new monument to General Stark in Richmond, Virginia. Tracy Clary of the Brunswick Camp SCV. If y'all can get a hold of him or either Commander Griffin of the Virginia Division and get for more information on that. That's June the 15th. Remember, they take them down, we put them up, and the Virginia Division is putting one up there in Virginia. So thank y'all folks there, and we'd love to see you at that event also.
All right, I think that takes us down to our almost at our Pop-Tart break, because when we come back, we want to talk about probably the most important thing that the SCV will have done, I would say, in the last 20 years. Let's see, how long have we been in SCV, Donald?
I don't know. I think around 1985. But listen, right quick. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I got my thumb on something here. You mentioned the Telegraph. If anybody is not on the Telegraph, all you have to do is just email a request to membership@scv.org. membership@scv.org. Email them and tell them who you are. I want to be on the Telegraph. Please, folks, get on the Telegraph. This is information. Without information, you're fighting blind. No war can be won without good information. We need to know what they're doing, but more importantly, we need the right hand in the SCV needs to know what the left hand is doing. Sorry, I interrupt you there.
Yeah, and make sure you give them your name, and if you have your membership number, it's on your card. Be sure to include that. If it saves them a little time. If you're not a member, but you're a friend, be sure to let them know that, because I think that this they check it for only members. We don't want the people who aren't members to get in this. But if you're an SCV member or a friend of the SCV, you can so make sure you have your name and your membership number. If you can't find your membership number, just put your name down and tell them what camp you're in. All right. Mr. Florida Man, if you'll get the Pop-Tart break ready, we'll go to that in just a second. I just want to tell everybody again, I think I joined the SCV in 1987. I can't remember now. It's been a long time ago. That's been quite a few years, but I think since that time, from that time to now, what we're going to talk about next is probably the most important thing we've done in that whole time. And it's going to be a major effort, but it's going to make a major difference in the SCV. When we get finished with this project, and it's going to be about an 18-month project or less, and when we get finished with it, we're going to have a new SCV. It's going to be an SCV that takes the attack to the enemy. We're not going to be reactionaries. We'll react if they try to take one of our monuments down, but we want to go positive. We want to go nationwide. We want the SCV to be to Southern heritage what the NRA is to the Second Amendment. And we can do it, folks. The potential is there. The talent is there. The resources are there if we do this next project. So at 7:29, Florida Man, do you have the Pop-Tart break ready? He's probably looking for his Pop-Tart.
He's probably wrestling.
There is a place nestled in the rolling farmland of southern Middle Tennessee. A home constructed in 1837, nearly lost to the ravages of war. Saved by a servant and a Confederate general. A place where families loved and lost. If walls could talk, what stories could be told? If a place, a home, can feel love, loss, pain, surely this is one of those places. Nearby is a more recent structure, and inside are the stories of heroes and heroines, stories of battles won and lost, stories of sacrifices made by the people of its native soil. A place that will tell the true and complete story of the Southland and the war fought for its freedom. From the causes that led to the conflict to the modern-day struggles to protect Southern history. Historic Elm Springs and the Confederate Museum at Elm Springs are the general headquarters for the Sons of Confederate Veterans. A place where the story of the Southland and its historic struggle is preserved and told. Come and discover your history.
All right. Back from our Pop-Tart. Donald, while I was on Pop-Tart break, I was looking at some of the comments. I see Commander Jimmy Hill says Stone Mountain is on April the 27th. I thought that's what we said, but if we misquoted, because it says on my cheat sheet here that you was reading from, Stone Mountain, April 27th. So if my brother misspoke, sorry about that. Thank you, Jimmy Hill, for catching it if we made a mistake. If you spend the night trying to catch all the Kennedy mistakes, you've got a thankless job ahead of you. But thank you anyway. Keep up the good work. We appreciate it.
Bless you, Jimmy.
Let's see, Sons of Confederate Veterans, First Lieutenant Jesse Page, camp in Texas. He says it was an amazing event, talking about the one at Pleasant Hill. Mansfield. So I see we got a hello from Arizona. So we got quite a few people listening. So we appreciate that. Now, what we want to talk about next, and it's very important. That's why I'm going to try to be very concise. We need to go on the offensive. The SCV needs to quit being a reactionary. Let me tell you, when you're being opposed by revolutionaries, if you're a reactionary, I'll guarantee you'll lose every time. Those of you, and if you're SCV, you're probably really into history. You know the history of the Russian Civil War, where the whites Russians were against the red Russians. The whites were reactionaries. They were just trying to protect what we used to have, and they were totally defeated by the revolutionaries. So we've got to be on the offensive. We've got to take the fight to the enemy, but we got to do it in a way, not in the streets, not with being nasty, being ugly, being just uncivil. No, we got to do it our way, and we can. And what we need to do, folks, is we need to pay off this mortgage note that we have right now, because we are spending money on this mortgage note every month that could be spent to promote Southern heritage, to put our message out, not only locally, but nationally. Now, once this go ahead, Don.
No, I was just coughing. Go ahead.
Okay. Once this mortgage bank note is paid off, it'll free up funds to use in a massive PR, public relations, and community involvement campaign. Now, our goal is within 12 months after paying off the mortgage to increase membership, including friends, above the 30,000 mark. That's where we reached a high water mark, and then we're going down and not up. Well, we're going to change that. That's going to totally reverse. We're going to continue the growth after that. The SCV will be to Southern Heritage what the NRA is to Second Amendment. Now, what we're doing, if we can free up these funds, and we're talking about between $12,000 and $15,000 a month, we can use in promoting the SCV nationally and locally. Very, very important. Monthly, folks, monthly. Now, right now, we're using those funds to pay off the mortgage on the debt, but we're wanting to raise funds to pay off the mortgage and complete the Forest Plaza and have a great bang-up celebration. We're going to burn the mortgage and put General Forrest back on his pedestal where he belongs. Go ahead, Don.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we're clear. We're trying to pay. We will pay off the bank note mortgage. Now, the bank note is what we owe the bank. We are the collateral. So we've got to get that paid off. And it's approximately, and I'm going to say approximately $1.3 million on that separate note. Now, we have a separate note that we owe to ourselves that we pay for. The SCV each year we pay the principal and interest because we borrowed from ourselves and we're paying back ourselves. So that's not a problem. That can be done. And we're every year we're knocking that down. The problem is this bank note. If y'all hadn't noticed, the interest is going up. Inflation is going up.
No. The president said that wasn't the case.
I only listen to President Jefferson Davis. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
This note that we're talking about, the bank note that we're trying to pay off, that we're having to spend from anywhere from $8,000 to $13,000, $14,000 a month on interest and principal on that. If we can get that paid off, then we can take that money and use it for what the SCV was established for. The SCV was established to vindicate the cause for which our Confederate forefathers fought. Vindicate, folks. Vindicate. If you're having trouble with that, please go to a good dictionary and look it up. We are to vindicate what they stood for. And if this bank note, if we let it go until a year from this July, that interest rate could double or triple. Do you realize how much money we'll be spending then on just servicing that note? That note can be called in if we can't service it, and we'll end up having to sell off property or whatever to liquidate that note. So what we want to do is get rid of that note because we're not going to call in ourselves. We're going to continue to work on that note. But if we can get this note taken care of, that money that what we keep talking about is going to the bank note can then be used in a massive public relation campaign where you have across the South, we'll have billboards, we'll have radio ads, we'll have, hey, how would y'all like to see on Newsmax or Fox News that if walls could talk video you just saw? Wouldn't that be great? And you want to get members, you want to retain members, you start doing stuff like that. When we've got this month before the convention, the National will be buying some small ads in various journals that are favorable to the SCV. We can gain some members there, but if we go really big whole hog, we can not only retain members, we can gain members, both genealogical and friends of the SCV. And another thing, Ron, that money frees up some money that we can get a decent website going. Right now, both the national website and the website for the museum is pitiful. I'm sorry. And I don't mean to hurt anybody's feelings. I know it's a lot of work to that, but we need a we need a website. The one we got now is a good membership website. It's for members, just like what Ron was talking about earlier, going for your awards and everything. All that information is on that web. We need something else. So somebody that knows nothing about the SCV, but here's one of our ads, they go to that and they'll learn real quick what the SCV is all about, what we have to offer, and how do I become either a member or a friends member. So we need money to do that. We cannot do it with the budget we've got now. We've got to pay this note off and free up those funds so we can go on the offensive. If I have anything to do with the SCV in the future, we will be going on the offensive. But no military can go on the offensive with empty cartridge boxes. We've got to do something, folks. And Ron, what would you suggest we do?
Well, first of all, I want to make sure everybody understands that if we can free up, not if, but when we free up this money, we get this bank mortgage paid off, we get the Forest Plaza taken care of, and that's going to be a beautiful site. I can't wait for that. But once we get that taken care of, we're going to be able to, the Confederate Legion has gone along with, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 a year, helping out, buying radio ads, doing Dixie Defenders. But we're going to put the Confederate Legion on steroids now. So we'll be able to provide Dixie Defenders at half cost to camps to get out and use them at the at gun shows and festivals. We want to be able to provide these 4x8 placards that they're like mini billboards. We want to be able to provide those at cost to our people, below cost, and we want to print them up in bulk and ship them in bulk so we can have these out all across schools. Now Georgia is doing a great job with this. And by the way, let me say I've asked Division Commander Tim Pilgrim to be our luncheon speaker at our Confederate at our Southern Heritage meeting during the reunion, and he's going to tell us about some of the things they've done, and that 4x8 placard, that's about the size of a 4x8 piece of plywood, and what they've done, they've given it to their members and members that have land along rural roads. They put those posters up, and that's great. That reminds the community who we are. That's the things we've got to do, and we've got to make it where it's very inexpensive. We want to be able to help underwrite the billboards campaign. We want to get on national Sirius radio. Rush Limbaugh used to have a group called EIB, Excellent in Broadcasting. Well, now that's been bought out. Don Bongito has some of the radio programs, and other people have. We want to get our message on those programs as ads. They cost money, but we'll have the money to do that. And that's what we want to do at the national level to support our local divisions and our local camps. Now, the other thing is that once we start doing this, we want our commander-in-chief to be able to go places such as, you're all familiar with American Family Radio, a very Christian-oriented radio program. They don't take ads. We can't pay ads or anything on. But we want our commander-in-chief to go to these people and sit down and have a visit with them, let them know who we are, what we stand for, that we are part of the Bible Belt, et cetera, et cetera. But we can't do that right now. But once we become nationally known, we can. The Daily Wire is another example of they don't understand the SCV, and they're in Nashville, of all places.
Yeah.
Just recently moved there. The Cato Institute in Washington, D.C., the NRA, the GOA, the
Gun Owners of America.
Gun Owners of America. All these things, we want our commander-in-chief to be able to go sit down and talk to these people, business people. This is what we stand for, and we would like your support. We would like, in many cases, to be able to speak to your organization about our Southern heritage. All right, now, how are we going to do that? Well, it's something that is called the 21st Century Confederate Heroes. The National SCV were seeking 1,500 individuals, 1,500 individuals or organizations who will donate $1,000 to rebuild the Forest Plaza and pay off, I think it's down now to $1.1 million bank obligation. Now, in order to be, or if you're part of this, this is some of the things we're going to do for you. First of all, you'll have a full page in the book of 21st Confederate Heroes. So let's suppose Donald wants to recognize our great grandfather. So you can have a picture of John Wesley, Private John Wesley Kennedy, a story of who he is, who his descendants are, what he did, where he lives, et cetera, et cetera. That'll be in there, and your name at the bottom, Donald's name at the bottom, if he's the one that paid for it. That goes in the book. The master copy of this book, there's going to be 3 volumes, 500 pages in each volume, will be kept at in the museum, in the library, in the museum. Plus, the individual, Donald's going to get a copy, his copy of the 1 volume that his ancestor in. Now, you can honor your ancestor. You can honor yourself. You can talk about yourself, what I did. There's a place for past commanders in chief, there of division commanders, camp commanders. If you want to say, this is what I did in the fight to preserve and you get a whole page you'll have in the book, and you'll get a copy of it. Or if you have, like myself, I have a personal family loss, and I want to memorialize that person that I lost, that I would not be remembered otherwise. I'm going to put his picture and the fact that he was a reenactor and pictures of him as a reenactor. I'm putting that in the book. So, and I'll get a copy of that, and it'll be in the master copy at the museum. So everybody gets a copy. Then everyone gets a specially designed neck ribbon, and it's going to be a beautiful. It's going to be navy blue. It's got a really beautiful medallion at the end of it, and you will be. You'll have the right to wear this. It's at any event that you want to. It'll show that you are a 21st century Confederate hero. And why are we saying that? Because in the 21st century, we are being attacked just like our ancestors were in the 19th century. And we are standing up in a different manner. We're not having to fix bayonets and charge, although it would be probably more fun doing that, but a lot more deadly as well. But we are being called upon to sacrifice. And here are 1,500 21st century Confederates that stood in, what does the Bible say? They stand in the gap, make up the hedge, stand in the gap, who will stand up and help us defeat the enemy. Because once we get this mortgage taken care of, once we get that plaza put up, we're going on the attack. We're going to charge them, boys. As General Forrest said, we're going to put the scare on, and we're going to keep the scare on. Now, what else? You're going to have a paver. Everyone will have a paver. For instance, Donald will have a paver for John Wesley Kennedy, 38th Mississippi Infantry, CSA, the date of his birth and death, and then Walter D. Kennedy, or the Kennedy twins, who paid for that paver. That's going to go on the walkway. There's going to be a walkway from the museum all the way to the plaza, and on each side of that walkway will be these pavers. Let's see. There's also will be a certificate, a beautiful certificate suitable for framing, demonstrating that you were documenting the fact that you were a member of the 21st century Confederate heroes. The donors submitted data will also go on a TV screen. Now, we're going to give everybody a chance to do a little PowerPoint, a 1-slide PowerPoint with your ancestor's picture, name, where he served, and the name of the person that's honoring him. Or that'll go on a PowerPoint that'll be continually on a loop. museum. So, and it's going to be on a large screen TV as you come into the museum off to the right. So that's something. And again, some people say, well, I don't want my name. I don't, but that's fine. If those who want it, that'll be there. An organization such as a camp or a division or a non-SCV organization, they'll receive a streamer for their group's flag instead of the neck ribbon. Okay. All donors will be eligible to receive one of the 12 forest flags that'll be flown for the first year over Forest Plaza. So we're going to put I saw Commander Brochure said, I don't know if you saw it, move the flagpole from where it is at Elm Springs to the Forest Plaza and fly the flag from there. So, but that's technical stuff that will be handled later. But each month we're going to have a drawing, and those 1,500 people that donated will be able to maybe win one of the sewn forest flags. Now that's the forest flag, man. It doesn't have the star in the middle like mine back here. It doesn't have the star in the middle, the forest flag. And so you'll have may be able to win there. So there'll be 12 of those given away. And also a plaque or other suitable device, such as a QR code linked to a web internet, to be placed at the entrance or near the Forest Plaza, identifying those who donated to the rebuilding of the Forest Plaza. This will include the 21st century Confederate heroes, plus anyone or organization that before the fundraising effort donated $1,000 or more for the restoration of the Forest Plaza. For instance, I know my Nathan Bedford Forest Camp 1931 in Mandeville, Louisiana gave $1,000. And I know other camps have done that for the Forest Plaza, so they'll be noted on there. The idea is that we want people to feel proud of the fact that you were the ones that were able to step up and make this possible. Now, how do we pay it? Well, you can write a check. We've already gotten about, what, 2 dozen checks already.
A dozen anyway.
But, you don't have to do that. We're setting up, and Donald, I don't believe they've got that set up yet, do they?
They don't have it set up, but we're working on a system on our either at the Confederate Legion or at the it's on the donation site on our website, where you can go on there, sign up, and have a reoccurring payment plan. Or if you want to just say, look, here's $100 down, I'll give you $50 a month for the next X number of months. If that's the way you want to do it, fine. But all these the things such as the neck ribbon, as soon as you sign up, you'll get your neck ribbon. We want to see some neck ribbons at the national reunion. Mm-hmm. So you'll get your neck ribbon. But remember, the neck ribbon is the property of the Sons of Confederate Veterans until you make your final payment of $1,000, and then it's yours totally. So we're doing that to encouraging people to let's sign up. Let's get started and get started paying all this. This is an easy payment plan. If you want to put $500 down and then you 10 months, $50 a month, that's fine. Or every what increments that you feel comfortable doing. We're trying to make it as easy as possible. Everybody's not rich like my twin brother. They can throw down $1,000 just all at once. But the important thing, folks, is we can do this. Is it a sacrifice? Well, yeah, it's a sacrifice, but not nearly as much as those guys that charged at Gettysburg or at Franklin or up the hill there at Newmarket or at Pleasant Hill and Mansfield. You name the battlefield. They sacrificed a heck of a lot more. They were heroes. I'm not trying to take anything away from real heroes who sweat, blood, and tears and very lives were given in defense of our Southland by calling us heroes. But it is a sacrifice that we're having to make. I've already paid for one. I'm going to pay for another one. I have to sacrifice. I have to give up some stuff that I really wanted but I'm not. I won't make a sacrifice. And I'm pleading with my fellow Southerners, make that sacrifice. Let's get this banknote. Let's get this thing off our back. Please, Jesus, get this monkey off our back. We've got to get this thing off our back for the primary reason, so we can go on the offensive, so we can take the fight to the enemy, so we can put the scare in them and keep the scare in them. And folks, just think what a great thing it's going to be when that Forest Plaza has been resurrected, rebuilt, reestablished. The enemy, those people, as General Lee used to call them, those people took Forest Plaza down. We in the SCV, we're putting it back up. And we're not only putting that back, we're putting new monuments, new flags, and we're going on the offensive with it. We're going to tell the world the true story about the real Nathan Bedford Forrest, the real South, the real heroes in America. But we can't do it until we get this monkey off our back, which is that banknote. So, folks, I'm pleading with you. Let's get this done, and let's go on the offensive, and let's kick some butt. We can do it. We are men. We can do it.
Absolutely. And listen, this the museum, and I know people, I'm so tired of hearing y'all beg for money. Well, okay, let's get this done. You won't hear us begging for money. We're going to be begging you to go out and work with this national PR campaign, getting more members in. Once we get past 30,000 members, all the money problems will be yesterday problems. And the museum was a great idea. The museum is a great asset. It's just part of the effort to do this PR campaign. Donald, tell everybody, remind them again about how important it is to have this museum when we get ready to advertise nationally.
Absolutely. I've gone by national ads, and the first thing when they hear is for the, quote, Sons of Confederate Veterans, they start backing off. And when they see our logo, the Confederate flag, oh, we can't do that. So I go back and a month or two later say, look, I've got a museum I want to advertise on your journal or your radio or your whatever. And they say, a museum? I say, yes, a National Confederate Museum. It's and I tell them about how nice it is and how big it is and everything. And guess what? I get to run those ads. And when I run those ads, especially if it's a newspaper ad, there's a QR code on there. And Ron, what do you think those people see when they go to that QR code?
Well, they put their little reader over that QR code and they hear walls could talk. Yeah. So
they gonna see a bunch of Confederate flags there. And we're gonna redo that when the Forest Monument's up. So it'll come back over and you'll see Forest on its equestrian statue in the plaza. That's gonna be eye-popping. So folks, we have potential. The museum, far as I'm concerned, is just another tool, just like the one click, just like the polls that we've done that proves that Americans in general and Southerners in particular favor what we are all about. It's just another tool to be used. The SCV is not a museum society. Okay, right. I said it. And y'all can repeat it. The SCV was not established to build museums and antebellum homes, but we use those museums and antebellum homes and various historic sites in order to vindicate the cause of our Confederate veterans. That is what I'm about, and that is what I want to push for the next 2 years. And Ron, we can literally change the landscape in the South if we can get this project done. When we get this project done, and it will be done if our fellow Southerners will fall in line, and let's get this charge towards the sound of battle. And we can do that, but we can't get there with empty cartridge boxes. We got to fill that cartridge box.
I want to be able to shake hands with hundreds of people at the reunion wearing their neck ribbon. Beautiful neck ribbon. You'll be wearing it. Even if you're just made your initial payment and you're on this, that's all. You're going to have that neck ribbon because I want you to wear it to your camp meetings, division meetings, your brigade meetings, and let people say, whoa, what is that? Well, I'm part of the 21st century Confederate heroes. And remember, folks, with this, you are building your legacy. Your great-grandchildren will take that book and say, look, my great-grandfather stood up just like his great-great-grandfather. Mine and Donald's great-grandfather, but that's how old we are. But their great-great-grandfather stood up for the South. And my ancestor was part of the 21st century Confederate heroes that helped defeat the neo-Marxist effort to destroy traditional American values. Very important. Now, we're running up to 8 o'clock, so let me quickly tell you, there's a 3-page document describing the 21st century Confederate heroes plan. It's on the Confederate Legion website. Go to scv.org. When it comes up, you see the Confederate Legion shield.
Logo.
Click on that, and it'll take you to the Confederate Legion web page. And in white at the top, you run your cursor over. It says 21st century Confederate heroes. Put your cursor on it, and the white disappears. I hate that. But click on it, even though the white letter disappeared. Click on it, and it'll take you to this document, and you can read for yourself. So with that, listen, folks, we're on the verge of starting a pro-South, pro-American, positive traditional values revolution. We can do it. Why shouldn't the South do it? Why shouldn't we, who know more about the Constitution and states' rights than any people in America, we, the people of the South, who are the Bible Belt, the Christians, backbone of America, we should be leading this attack. And if you will get behind us, we'll do it. With that, Donald, you got anything you want to say?
The only thing I want to say is that I want to get on this program 2 years from now and brag about all my fellow Confederates who are members of the 21st century Confederate heroes who are responsible for the SCV being interviewed on major news networks. Every time something comes up about the South, instead of going to some airhead in New York, they'll come to us, the Sons of Confederate Veterans. How does the South feel about this issue? That is when the politicians will know they cannot run over us and stab us in the back any longer, that we are active, and we're mad as hell, and we're not going to take it anymore. With that, I will shut up.
All right. Thank you very much, folks. We're going to ask our Florida man, thank you for being in the background and helping out. And folks, y'all stay Southern. This fight has just started.
Amen.
When my mother was in college, she danced with Confederate veterans. To me, it wasn't that far away. You know, my father knew this. My mother knew this. Almost 50 years ago, I joined the Sons of Confederate Veterans. In those days, we weren't concerned about saving monuments or any of those things. That wasn't necessary. In fact, none of us had any remote idea that it would ever come up. We can't just sit there and react. We have to be proactive. Or, as Robert E. Lee said, the best way to disrupt your enemy's plans is to strike first. Everyone should do all in his power to collect and disseminate the truth, in the hope that it may find a place in history and descend to posterity. History is not the relation of campaigns and battles and generals or other individuals, but that which shows the principles for which the South contended and which justified her struggle for those principles. If you're looking for some place to be where you think you're going to accomplish something to save our history, go to the Sons of Confederate Veterans. I'm Thomas Lee Jesse. I'm a descendant of Private Daughtery Gilmer, a Confederate veteran.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah. Florida man, are you